Sometimes it takes a minor part to make a machine function. Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 movie characters that were more important than you realize. For this list, we're looking at characters who seemed insignificant at first glance, but if you removed them, the movie or future installments would fall apart. Number 10. The Security Guard, Wayne's World. Wayne's World satirizes several movie tropes, from product placement to breaking the fourth wall. Through Chris Farley's security guard, the film pokes fun at characters who solely exist to dump exposition. At an Alice Cooper concert, the guard tells Wayne and Garth about Frankie Sharp, a record producer who travels around the country in his limo searching for talent. The guard even knows Sharp's precise route. Wayne finds it odd that a security guard would know so much.
You know, for a security guard, he had an awful lot of information, don't you think?
But it's a good thing the guys bumped into him. Without his information, they wouldn't have thought to broadcast Cassandra's performance into Sharp's limo, which Wayne points out.
Aren't we lucky we were there to get all that information? It seemed extraneous at the time.
Of course, this still doesn't explain why the guard looks exactly like their friend Milton in the sequel.
Hey, Wayne. Hey, Garth.
Hey, Milton.
Hey, Milton. How's it going, man? Awesome party! Good tunes, good brew, good buddies.
Number 9. Jar Jar Binks, the Star Wars franchise. As much as we hate to admit it, the Star Wars universe would not be what it is without arguably its most despised character.
How rude.
If it weren't for Jar Jar, Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi wouldn't have found Oto Gunga, meaning they'd just be stuck on Naboo for the entirety of Phantom Menace. However, it's in Attack of the Clones where Jar Jar makes his greatest impact. Despite having less screen time, Jar Jar uses his new position as a Galactic Senate delegate to increase Chancellor Palpatine's emergency powers.
Misa propose that the Senate give immediately emergency powers to the Supreme Chancellor.
Had it not been for Jar Jar, Palpatine wouldn't have created the Grand Army of the Republic, executed Order 66, or formed the Galactic Empire.
Commander Kelly, the time has come. Execute Order 66.
Yes, my lord.
In that sense, we guess Jar Jar was a necessary evil. Number 8. Philippe, Beauty and the Beast.
Come on, Philippe, it's a shortcut.
The film is titled Beauty and the Beast, but it might as well have been called Maurice and the Beast if you took out Philippe.
Steady.
After getting separated from the horse in the woods, Maurice stumbles upon the Beast's castle where he's locked up. When Philippe returns home without Maurice, he leads Belle back into the woods where she finds her father imprisoned.
What is this place? Philippe, please, steady.
This is tweaked in the Broadway musical where LeFou uncovers Maurice's lost scarf, influencing Belle to go look for him. Going by the film's continuity, though, Philippe is the glue who holds this tale as old as time together. Maurice would have rotted away in that cell otherwise. Or maybe he'd become the Beast's guest? Honestly, we would love to see that alternate reality. Number 7. Mike Yanagita, Fargo. Sometimes you need to take a second look to see someone's true colors. Fargo has numerous uncomfortable moments, but Marge's reunion with Mike Yanagita is perhaps the hardest to watch.
You mind if I sit over here? I was married to Linda Cooksey.
No, why don't you sit over there? I prefer that.
Like, who hits on a happily married pregnant woman who they haven't seen since high school? Cringe factor aside, Mike apparently has nothing to do with Mrs. Lundegaard's kidnapping, the ransom, or anything pertaining to the plot. The pieces start falling into place, however, when Marge learns that Mike lied about his marriage.
They never...
No, they never married. Mike's had psychiatric problems.
Oh, my.
Marge is a habitually trusting person, but it occurs to her that if Mike's story was fabricated, maybe Jerry wasn't being entirely honest either. Considering Mike's lie, she returns to Jerry and blows the case wide open.
Ma'am, I answered your question.
Number 6. The Clock Tower Lady, Back to the Future.
Jesus, I'm starting to sound like my old man.
Come on, he's not that bad. At least he's letting you borrow the car tomorrow night.
She's never even given a proper name, but there would have been a wrinkle in time if you erased the Clock Tower Lady from existence.
Save the clock tower! Save the clock tower! Mayor Wilson is sponsoring an initiative to replace that clock.
Butting in on a romantic moment between Marty and Jennifer, this woman is looking to preserve the Hill Valley Clock Tower, which was struck by lightning 30 years earlier. She gives Marty a flyer, which he likely would have thrown away if Jennifer hadn't used it to write down a phone number and an I love you. When Marty gets stuck in 1955, Doc tells him that the only way to reactivate the time machine is via a bolt of lightning. Thanks to the clock tower lady, Marty knows where he needs to be on November 12, 1955 at 10:04 p.m.
What did you say?
A bolt of lightning. Unfortunately, you never know when or where it's ever gonna strike.
Number 5. John Kramer, Saw. It's now common knowledge among horror fans that John Kramer was the Jigsaw Killer. He's essentially the face of this franchise. When the first Saw movie came out in 2004, however, most people didn't give Kramer a second thought after he popped up in a flashback. Even if you suspected that Zepp Hindle was working for someone else, Lawrence's cancer patient probably was not at the top of your suspect list.
He's a very interesting person. His name is John.
That is, unless you notice the drawings Kramer had been jotting down in his hospital bed. In the final scene, it's revealed that the seemingly inconsequential character was hiding under our noses the whole time, pulling everyone's strings like a puppet master. Now that Kramer's identity is out, the game can truly begin.
Game over.
Number 4. Agent Phil Coulson, The Avengers.
Security breach. It's on you.
Mr. Stark?
Phil, come in.
Phil?
There's no such thing as a small role in the MCU. Despite essentially being a henchwoman in the first Guardians of the Galaxy, Nebula went through a compelling redemption arc in Volume 2, which carried over to the subsequent Avengers sequels. Of course, the Avengers might not even exist without Phil Coulson. While his screen time was limited in Iron Man 2, and Thor, Coulson emerged as a fan favorite, making his sudden demise in 2012's The Avengers all the more shocking.
Just stay awake. Eyes on me.
Oh, I'm clocked out here.
Not an option.
Coulson's death encourages the Avengers to put their differences and egos aside, bringing them together as a team.
Phil Coulson died still believing in that idea. In heroes.
Coulson returns as a lead in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., showing just how far he's come since his first appearance.
Welcome to Level 7. Sorry, that corner was really dark and I couldn't help myself.
Number 3. Bettina Peterson, Castaway. This woman briefly appears in the opening of Castaway, but we don't get a very good look at her face. However, we do get a good look at her FedEx package, which has an angelic pair of wings plastered on it.
See, there it is right there on the desk.
So where's she headed?
Oh, she's snowbound, Ramon.
Chuck Nolan finds the parcel upon crash landing on a deserted island. Rather than opening the package, it becomes a symbol of hope for Chuck, motivating him to survive and eventually escape. Inadvertently, Bettina's actions saved a complete stranger's life. Chuck finally crosses paths with Bettina in the final scene, but he initially doesn't know she's the one who sent the package.
You look lost.
I do?
Where are you headed?
Spotting an identical set of wings on the back of her truck, Chuck realizes he's found his guardian angel. Number 2. Neville Longbottom, the Harry Potter franchise. Initially, it seems like Neville will never be more than the butt of the joke.
Hey, wait! Where are you going? What about the counter curse?
However, while Neville doesn't seem like the heroic type, he will fight when it matters most. This is first exemplified when he stands up to his friends, securing Gryffindor the House Cup.
It takes a great deal of bravery to stand up to your enemies, but a great deal more to stand up to your friends. I award 10 points to Neville Longbottom.
Neville's contributions go far beyond this one instance, though. Although he's given more development in the books, the movies still see Neville go through an extraordinary evolution as a key member of Dumbledore's army.
I'm hopeless. You're just flourishing your wand too much. Try it like this.
Even when it looks like they've lost the Battle of Hogwarts, Neville refuses to join Voldemort. Wielding the Sword of Gryffindor, Neville beheads Nagini, allowing Harry to defeat the Dark Lord. Not bad for somebody who started off his first year losing his frog. Not only is it very important to me to give Neville his due, it is very important to me that we give the Clock Tower Lady her due. Oh, also, in Back to the Future 2, when Marty's in 2015 and somebody asks him for money again for the clock tower, that is actually the mechanic Terry from 1955. You know, the guy that cleaned the manure out of Biff's car? So there. Okay, I will stop regaling you with Back to the Future facts now, while I read you some honorable mentions and then reveal the #1 movie character that was more important than you realize. Mitch Murphy, Home Alone. The head count would have been off if he wasn't standing there.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, half in this van, half in this van.
Pete Fountaine, Gremlins. If he didn't spill that water, Gizmo wouldn't have spawned more Mogwai.
Great, thanks a lot.
Sorry. Who's in that jar?
Nothing, just water.
Louis Dodgson, Jurassic Park. Without him, Dennis wouldn't have stolen the embryos.
You shouldn't use my name.
Dodgson! Dodgson! We've got Dodgson here! See, nobody cares.
Dr. Caron, Serenity. So that's where the Reavers came from.
The G23 Paxilon hydrochloride that we added to the air processors. It was supposed to calm the population, weed out aggression. Well, it works.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
#1, Frank the Historian, Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Defeat at the castle seems to have utterly disheartened King Arthur.
This comedy classic is full of random scenes that, while hilarious, go absolutely nowhere. So when an anonymous knight suddenly slays a historian named Frank, it seems fairly trivial. Every once in a while, we cut back to the police's investigation of Frank's death, but this is a minor distraction at most. The epic final battle is cut short, though, when the authorities arrive, arresting King Arthur and Sir Bedivere.
Yes, they're the ones I'm sure.
Come on, anybody else go to?
The film is stopped dead in its tracks all over a character we barely even knew. It makes little sense, seeing as how this story takes place in 932 AD and Frank, being a historian, existed in modern times. Nevertheless, this ending cracks us up every time, and it wouldn't have been possible without Frank's sacrifice.
All right, Sonny, that's enough. Just pack that in.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.